I have played a couple of mobile monster taming games back in the day, like Monster Galaxy and Dragon City. But while looking at sales for games on PC, I noticed a title I've only seen on the Google and App Store a couple of times. Nexomon. I know that this series has been announced for a third installment given with how many people like it. I decided to get the game on sale, give it a try for myself. Spoilers ahead as I tell you how my journey of playing Nexomon for the first time is like. The game starts with a recap of how the world as we know it changed after the Fire Nation attack. With all these adorable little things, how did we end up in this situation? As with all games like this, we start by snapping back to reality. I suit up and head downstairs and see the most powerful Nexomon trainer in the world lead my dad into the basement. I head outside and I see my friend Ellie and her robot Atlas absolutely demolish this grunt into the sky. I take the initiative to rob the Nexolord of one of his Nexomon for my own purposes. The choices are as stands. The Fox from Zootopia, the Yeti from Monsters Inc., Master Viper from Kung Fu Panda, the Beaver from Chip and Sons Lumber Company, the Skunk from Over the Hedge, Cheetah Chug, and I have no idea what this last thing is actually. I pick up the snake looking one and bite the grunt's butt until he can't fight no more. The Nexolord finds out that I nabbed one of his starters, but lets me off with a slap on the wrist. I go on ahead and after leveling up Bongo Jr. a bit, I find my next party member, a Bastin, who I nickname Anka. Heading into the town, we find about overseers, which are basically the people who work for the Nexolord and help in fulfilling his misdeeds. The overseer in this town, Ivan, has apparently turned the whole park into a gym, so I gotta stop him. I challenge him to a battle, sending out Anka first. I have her use a bombastic side-eye to paralyze the Thrano, and Flame to defeat it. Next is Ivan's Valazi, whom I also paralyze and burn to a crisp. The incoming Dromerup gets side-eyed, allowing me to switch to Bongo Jr. and swirl it out of here. One more side-eye saves the day as I finish off Ivan's Nexomon with one last wind bullet from Bongo Jr. Who knew taking advantage of status conditions would be a great strategy? Foreshadowing. As Ivan decides to spill the beans on where to head next, the champion of fire beats him up twice. Ouch, you are definitely gonna feel that in the morning, buddy. Ellie tells us to head to the mountains to get more info from the next overseer. After getting through the cave, we run up the mountain, and as well as fight through the Nexomon in the grass. Bongo Jr. decides it's time to evolve, knowing that I'll need his strength for the upcoming battle. Looking for the overseer, I stumble upon his home. Wait a minute, what's up with the burlap sack? Are you a robber? We let him go for reasons unbeknownst to me, and looking around some more, we find the guy that Atlas smacked a few minutes ago. After beating up his team again, Remus, the overseer in the mountains, comes to us instead and smacks the grunt back to oblivion. Looks like he's blasting off again, back at his house. Apparently the robbers stole the intercom for the Nexolord's evil plans, and it's on us to get it back. We also meet Bryce, an investigator for the Nexoguard. We beat up the robbers' stolen Nexomon at the cave and go back to Remus. But then, Nadine, the Nexolord's champion of wind, forces Remus to battle us. It was pretty easy with Anka and Bongo Jr. scratching and slashing through Remus's team. Unimpressed, Nadine tries to beat Remus up with a cyclone. We train up a bit and Anka finally evolves, giving us the much needed power boost. Bryce gives us a tip to ask the Overseer of Fire in the volcanic area to see if she can help us. We run into the burglar from earlier as he gets beaten up by the Power Rangers. We run along as if nothing happened and head straight to the next town. We bump into Ron, the shop owner, and he tells us that he needs us to retrieve an item for him. After saving the person being harassed for the item in question, he tells us to destroy it, as it is a key item needed by the Nexolord for his nefarious purposes. We keep it for ourselves, not beating the kleptomaniac allegations, and tending the Overlord's concert because she's a fiery rock star. She challenges us to a battle in exchange for info. I send out Anka first and tried out her new move, Energy Blast, which does a lot of damage to Iris Magpillar and Astior. Once she's around half health, I send out a sacrifice to get a clean switch into Bongo Jr. to finish the job. But then, Ira goes for round 2. This isn't looking good, guys. I only have so many Nexomon to sacrifice. I send out my under-leveled Angelo and cross my fingers that he lands asleep. And he does! I send out a Drash to lower the accuracy of the Ferocera. Then I switch to Bongo Jr. to raise his own stats with Crescent Wings into a clean sweep with Slash. I should really get more permanent team members. Ira tells us about the scientists that the Nexolord is after, and one of them is Ellie. The Nexolord is after my best friend! Alright, now that I have motivation, I'll proceed to the next area and probably round out my team. First things first, a water type Nexomon. The previous fight left me thirsting for more. I walk into the grass and that was easy. Lolong the Tycroc, you'll be my next team member. Brushing through the jungle, I find this little adventurer named Dina and asks if I could help her to find the hidden village. Noticing a ladder near the rest area from before, I drop on down and lo and behold, I find my next team members one after another. Which is what I wanna say if I hadn't killed a mech by accident. I catch a Chronic who I name Firefly, and an Obelink who I name Jade. With 3 new members, the overall power of my team has definitely sprung up tenfold. I bump into a few guardians of the hidden village, and after leveling up, Lolong evolves. That was pretty quick. I'm still thinking of one last team member though. I want it to be a plant type. I wonder when I'll be able to find what. And it's actually that easy, I guess. Ivy the Spink will be the last piece to my team building puzzle. After defeating the last guardian on the way to the hidden village, Jade's arms crack open. We meet the jungle chief and Understandable is furious, so to apologize, we help the jungle chief fend off the intruder, which is a bounty hunter looking for us. And Bongo Jr. finally evolves into his final form. And of course, Firefly busts into a cocoon. Once we get up the tree, we find Nadine, who reveals to us her Animorph form. I send out Jade to lower Nadine's attacking power, surviving what could have been an instant knockout, proving the strategy will work. I send out Ivy to copy Anka's bombastic side-eye, to stop Nadine in her tracks as I send out Firefly to weaken her a bit. After switching to Anka, she uses a side-eye of her own to double paralyze Nadine and finish the job. The game doesn't recognize this feat, and Khan the Jungle Chief teleports us to a nearby town to seek help from Hilda, who's been separating the souls of her townsfolk on the way to the town itself. Firefly sprouts her wings, while Ivy learns how to be a Pokemon starter. The Mega Rare I killed before also shows up for round 2. I redeem myself by catching it this time. With all these spirits running around, I might as well call this a ghost town. We explore a bit to see what's going on and find Batman's butler again, and he tells us about the maze that Hilda has brought about this town. Dina gets spooked after busting his ghost. It was only then he taught us how to be maze runners. Following the will of the wisps, we make it to Hilda's manor and we face off. Bongo Jr. is up first, and after almost killing the Magpillar, I decide to buff up. Pretty fair trait as Bongo Jr. whips up the winds to blow these spirits away. After Bongo Jr. goes down, Firefly finally shines as she uses one arcane blast after another to zap away at Hilda's last 2 Nexomon. After exercising Hilda's Nexomon, she sends us to the spirit world to talk to the first Nexolord. We find out that apparently all Nexomon are pure evil, and that the current Nexolord is planning to revive Omnicron, the first Nexomon to plunge the world into an eternal darkness, like the plot of Wishology. It's time for the beach episode! Alfred gives us a ride to Palmea Beach, where we have to look for the Overseer. We catch up with Bryce by the bar as the bartender tells us to look out for a surfer girl and her group of simps. When we get to her near the south shore, she challenges us to none other than a volleyball match, because she apparently is the best volleyballer around. One terrible match later, she throws a tantrum like a little brat and goes on her way when the Flash tells her to knock it off. Realizing that the bartender is obviously the overseer, we head back to the bar area to confront him. I also didn't expect my next encounter. It was now time to combat this butler. First up was Firefly using Arcane Blast and Tornado to bring his Shermit down. After he sends out Skoy, I switch to Jade so she can slash the Windsock into pieces. After bringing the Torix's HP to low, I switch to my own Reptilian River Monster, who evades an attack and counters with one big bite. The enemy's Lax Nexomon almost burns Ivy's thorns away, but she holds on to 1 HP so Anka can deal the finishing blow. Bryce arrests Hendrik and we trek all the way to the next city, Royale, to locate Ellie. We bump into Bootle again and he tells us that letting us go got him fired. Look man, it's not my fault that you didn't do your job. We take a stroll around the city and see a bank robbery happening. Naturally, I step in to save the day. The bodyguard didn't want to accept defeat so easily, so immediately goes for round 2. But just as he was going to throw hands again, Anchor achieves her final form. Saving the people from the heist, we steal from the Nexo Lord again, as it's his money that's in the bank in the first place. Now, the plan to break in the Overseer's home is underway. First, we lay out bait for the people who locked up the Overseer. We get some diamonds from Ron because a thief is also part of the situation. We hide and... Willie. This dude has been robbing everyone, man. Following him to the secret base in the sewers, we discover that Ellie has been gathering a rebellion against the Nexo Lord, accompanied by Ivan, Remus, Willie the Thief, and the Power Rangers? Don't worry, Ellie. We can protect you too. The Overseer, aren't you supposed to be locked up? Turns out the Champion of Lightning has assisted the snotty rich kid and decides to see what we're made of. Bongo Jr. is up first and slashes the Champion of Lightning's Herstag. After he sends out a Weevil right as I swap in Jade, she gets paralyzed. Good thing that she's able to tank out the hits or she would have been a goner. Once the paralysis dies down, I retaliate immediately with a seismic move, taking it down. I send out Lolong next to get rid of the ostrich. You know, it was pretty weird for it to paralyze and then poison me. I'll take note of that. It might come in handy in the future battle. It's one last leap dance to defeat the enemy's Jita. I bring out Firefly to face the Voltosphere, and was surprised to see Firefly dodge multiple attacks and break out the paralysis to finish it off. I'm so proud of her. Foreshadowing. Lolong returns to his natural habitat and makes himself at home, evolving. Zeta kidnaps Ellie in a flash, leaving us to track her down once again. But this time, we got to borrow the rich lady's yacht. Ooh, fancy. On the way to the harbor, we hear some explosions in the north. I got a bad feeling about this, guys. Fenrir, the champion of fire, atop the beaten bodies of the Power Rangers, we go head to head. Bongo Jr., show him what you're made of. Power up and start slashing! Mon after Mon after Mon, Bongo Jr. sweeps the enemy until he can't take it anymore. You did good, Jr. Ivy avenges Bongo Jr. with energy blasts until his final evolution gets the best of her. After Anka finishes off the enemy, Ivy takes the anger from being defeated by her evolution and grows into her final form. The spirit of the first Nexolord spooks Fenrir to his core, allowing us to escape into the harbor and be on our merry way. Is what I would say if Merida wasn't such a sore loser and decides to ambush us in the sea. I send out Jade to lower her attack, hoping that we can survive her next hit. The combo with Firefly to lower her magical power does wonders for this fight. She slowly brings Merida's HP to half, followed by Anka and Lolong, leaving her at 20% HP. My now fully evolved Ivy finishes off Merida with a Poison Ivy attack, as Merida capsizes the ship like a sore loser, flipping the table on game night, and we end up in the desert. Washed on shore, our crew has been scattered across the desert, and now we have to find them. Our boy Atlas has been drained of batteries, so we have to find a mechanic to fix him up. Looking around the desert village, this guy stops me from going any further. To get revenge, I give him a good old 5 Nights at Freddy's jump scare. After giving him a heart attack, he agrees to help me fix up Ochobot. We spy on the Nexolord and the Overseer of the Desert as they plan to bring up the first child of the King of Monsters. After Atlas gets repaired, we dive deeper into the dungeon and find Dina, harassing the Overseer to let her in. We reunite with Remus and Ivan as they beat up another one of the Nexolord's grunts. Nearing the chamber, Fenrir greets us again with "I'm going to end you now" written all over his face. Bongo Jr. retaliates with a heavy monsoon to end the battle. Fenrir lets us pass and we head to the next room where the Nexolord just revived Grunda, even after the Overseer stabs him in the back. It is now a face-off against Grunda. Our other allies appear as we start the fight against Groundzilla. Same strategy as before. Jade sees what the enemy can do and I swap to Lolong to lower his attack power. Firefly dodges a lethal switch-in to lower his magical powers before going down. Now I send Ivy test the next part of the plan, Poison. Ivy uses Poison Ivy to start chipping away at his health by a lot. After switching to Bongo Jr., he uses Heavy Monsoon again to turn Grunda back into a fossil. Now that we know the Nexolord is headed towards the final resting place of the King of Monsters, we do some fishing for the mechanic from earlier so he can fix the train for us to reach the last city. We started going up the snowy mountain range where we meet Elsa, I mean Glacia, the Overseer of the Icy Barricade. It was then I glitched into running infinitely. Oh, I just can't wait to defeat the Nexolord. We were stopped by the Power Rangers, but we swiftly deal with them because they were annoying. We rescue this pink blonde girl getting harassed by the guards and she leads us into the town. When we head north, we find all the champions in Glacia guarding the barricade. I don't think I can handle a gauntlet of bosses yet, guys. I'm a bounce. Juliet tells us about the laboratory where the resurrection machines are being made, so we hop on over and, Bounty Hunter, what are you doing here? We mop the floor with him one last time. I'm really sorry, man. We got you fired like 3 times now. He walks away. Am I the bad guy? After defeating the goons in the lab, we are halted by the Nexolord's mentor, urging us for a battle. Alright man, you're lost. Jade is sent out to deal with the mentor's Galvaria as one meteor rain takes it out. A heavy monsoon is summoned by Bongo Jr. to defeat the second Nexomon. Heavy's up to use Poison Ivy on this enemy Slippery, but gets burnt by the Fet Doom after. With one Nexomon left, the mentor brings out the plant starter Corozard. Yeah, I still don't know what that thing is supposed to be. Luckily, Anka picks up the kill with her cold, dead hands, hot, alive paws. The mentor pieces out once he is satisfied and now we proceed to the following room. How are the revival machines coming along? Scientists tell us about a bomb that can knock the champions out cold. What are we waiting for? Let's kick some Nexomon butt. We head into a cave where the Nexonium is supposed to be and lo and behold, it's that easy. Of course it ain't that easy. The first Nexolord warns us about our Nexomons betraying us, so he goes ahead and uses my team against me. We're in for a mirror match, folks. We have a catfight for the first matchup. Anka goes on the offensive using Disruption Race, out-damaging the healing of the clone, continuing the attacks until she's half health. I bring in Lolong to take out the double by throwing hands. Once the enemy's Firefly comes out, Jade throws mini planets because not even Sam can blow up more than one planet at a time. Once Jade is low, I swap in Ivy to defeat the Monoliths. The enemy retaliates by giving Jade a taste of her own medicine. I send Anka back out because of her fiery claws of doom, but unfortunately gets frozen and poisoned, going down. It was now up to Bongo Jr. to summon a cyclone to rustle the enemy's leaves. At this point, it was Bongo versus Bongo again. But the enemy does the same mistake from his first Nexomon and tries to heal the damage. One last heavy monsoon from Bongo is all it takes to win the fight, showing the first Nexolord that my team is way more poggers than his. After we retrieve the Nexonium, we have Atlas be useful for once and have him spirit bomb the champions, allowing a one-on-one fight with the Ice Queen. Not even Anna can save you now. Firefly electrocutes the seahorse, Jade throws rocks at the kangaroo, Ivy overgrows the elephant, and energy blasts the idol as well as the crane. That's a clean 3-sweep for Ivy, nice and simple. Lolong throws hands at a fellow aquatic reptilian, making the cold bother Elsa anyway. The champions retreat while recovering strength and forge a path ahead. One last obstacle stands in our way as we approach the tower Remus has waited for us. Not holding back, we battle his true team. Anka swiftly defeats Remus's Komachu, then switched to Firefly to follow up on his Faradao, then immediately back to Anka for a couple of disruption rays on his Onslaughterous. I send out Lolong, my own Faradile, to deal against his mineral starter. After Lolong is defeated by the Mistralian, Jade rocks this horse's world, winning the battle. Now that's out of the way, we climb up the Nexolord's tower. When we get to the main entrance, I start to hallucinate about the King of Monsters. I'm not crazy, Atlas, you gotta believe me. Arriving at a painfully obvious room, we do our final battle against Fenrir, and this time, I'm prepared. I finally have a solid strategy. First, I have Lolong lower his attack power, and then try to put out his flames with his tidal rage. I switch to Jade to make meteors fall and crush Fenrir. This strat is going to be so OP, just you watch. We continue climbing up the tower, on to the next. Alright Merida, out with it. First up is Firefly this time to lower Merida's magical power. Ivy switched in uses Poisonous Ivy, and I can sap her health, making the fight 10 times easier. I come face to face with Nadine as she whisks me away with her tornadoes. With the help of my spirit friends, I get a shield that allows me to properly fight her. Same strat as before. Once her stats are lowered, Anka comes out to give her a piece of her mind. One spinning attack later, she can't even attack. A few fire claws, that's another easy win. One more battle left before the Nexomon. Oh my goodness, this guy's huge! One confusion later, Jade takes over to hurl rocks until finally he's sent back to the ozone layer. Before the final chamber, the Nexolord's mentor gives a sob story as to why he wants the King of Monsters to destroy the world. Turns out he was a virtual character that rebelled from his own world where he was created. Let me play the smallest violin for you, buddy. I'm about to foil your plans. Using the power of his children, Omnicron challenges to a boss gauntlet. And here I thought I was done with these guys. I also want to not use any items as much as possible and leave the strategy on how I'm gonna beat him. Lolong is up first against Fenrir again. I lower his attack and start flooding him over. Lolong survives with 10 HP as he does one last tidal rage on Fenrir. Next is Merida. I switch out to Firefly so that she can lower her magical power. When Firefly gets around 40% HP, I have no choice but to switch to Anka to confuse her and heal up any damage. When it's Nadine's turn, we get Firefly to lower her stat, and after getting confused by Anka again, I have Bongo Jr. to slash her out of commission, but to no avail. Anka gets her revenge by using her Paws of Fury. Dude, Anka is so goated with the confuse hacks because she does it again! One spinning attack on Zeta is enough to give us the leverage to switch to Jade and catapult rocks at him until it can't fly no more. With all said and done, it's time for the final boss himself. First things first, Anka's confusion hacks. Check. Firefly's power drain. Check. Ivy's poison. Check. Once Omnicron is now at 30% HP, we just need Jade to tank out the rest as she lowers more of its stats and deal massive damage, winning the battle. Anka, you were the MVP for this one. Once the King of Monsters is defeated, he gets sent to jail to reflect on his actions. What if he tries to escape? Someone has to watch over him, right? That's when Dina comes up to us and reveals that she was the final missing child of Omnicron. A Nexomon who believed in humans and Nexomon coexisting. With her power, she will look after her father's sentence so that he may never return. Or so we think. That was one heck of a ride, right guys? Wait, what's that noise? Holy moly, what is that? Looks like Dr. Margot and Dr. Winston have been busy in my basement. Here's the sitch. So that the Nexolord will never be resurrected, we have to destroy his soul. Wait, isn't Dina supposed to be in charge of that? We find her behind the barrier and tells us that we have to be reborn to pass through. Easy enough? Alright, it's rewind time. Miriam the Mystic turns our Nexomon back into babies, but in return, they become even more powerful than before. We enter the barrier. You know, it's pretty refreshing to start the journey again, but with a full party. On the way to the chasm where the King of Monsters is imprisoned, we find Ghost Freak? Oh, they're actually called wardens that watch over prisoners in this world. He proceeds to Gigantamax, so we get the heck out of there. As another forewarning of a battle to come, Firefly turns into a cocoon once more. We take the long way around where a cave gives us the passage. Unfortunately, the warden was waiting for us there this entire time and jumps at us. Don't worry, team. We can. He has 10,000 HP! Even with Anka's paralysis hacks, our team still got destroyed. Dina scares him off. Turns out the reason why he's here is because he doesn't have a prisoner. But why? Ignoring that for now, into a maze? Dina, what are you on? No worries, it shows the right path. And of course you forgot. We make our way endlessly trial and erroring our way through the maze until we find the spirit of the first Nexolord. Apparently, we have to destroy all wardens so we can get into his chamber and destroy his soul to reach the area of the chasm. Wait a minute, what are these guys doing here? Like, seriously, what is your problem? I swiftly beat up the Power Rangers. Now it's really weird that these guys are here out of all places. How many people have entered my basement? In the chasm, we have to enter each nightmare of each prisoner. Let's beat up Merida first. He really sucks. Turns out the warden's job is to create a reality where the prisoner will never know that they're locked up in the first place. Merida, for instance, is in a beach because, she plays volleyball. And we meet Bryce? Is that really you? Aw man, it's just a fake made by the warden. Speaking of the warden, when we arrive at the deepest part of the nightmare, the warden of water, Doreen, stops us. So we have to beat her up so we can cast Merida into an eternal darkness. After failing a bombastic side-eye, I have Ivy swap with Anka to use Snake Eyes to lower its attack power. When she's at low health, I take a gamble. I send out Lolong to see if the odds are in my favor. I use Frostbite and it lands the freeze! I have Firefly take the lead to do as much damage as possible and secure the win with Jade and one last Frostbite from Lolong. With Merida powerless to fight us, we send her to the Shadow Realm. That's one down, let's beat the next one up. I thought fakes would disappear if the prisoner and warden weren't around anymore. Welcome to the team, I guess, Bryce. Into Grunda's nightmare we go. We're instantly greeted by Grunda's human form, Ulrich. He's here to stop Remus from taking over the town. I guess this is how Grunda views the world. We run into Remus himself as he and Ulrich start fighting Dragon Ball Z style. At the end, the warden erases Remus from existence, prompting our fight. We'll avenge you, fake Remus. Lolong uses his reptilian retinas to weaken the warden. When I tried talking to Firefly and Anka, the warden went on defensive by raining down rocks on both of them. This isn't good. Let's try freezing him with Lolong. Frostbite takes effect for a while. This gives me enough time for Firefly to lower his magic. And quick swap to Bongo Jr. as he dodges a rock barrage for a clean switch. Bongo Jr. chokes the warden and binds him, and powers up with crescent wings. Now comes the fun part. With the power of Turbulent Toss, we spam confusion after confusion until the warden disappears. Grunda gives us respect. Look man, sorry again for beating you up. Gets sent to the Shadow Realm, and that's 2 out of 5. It's time to get Fenrir out of here. Right on our way to his chamber, we are stopped at the room before the final chamber with a black flame. Looks like we need Fenrir to get rid of this for us. Fenrir knows what's going on and conveniently discards a flame for us, making way a path for the final area. And there they are. Fenrir and his warden duking it out. Don't worry buddy. Lolong is up first to make the warden's attacks weaker. When Frostbite doesn't work, we switch strategies. I go on the offensive and have Jade repeatedly use Seismic move to bring him down low. Once Jade's HP is on the brink, I send out Firefly and she dodges the Incinerate for a clean switch in. But I make a mistake. Instead of using Headbutt to confuse him, I misclick. I use Pull Shot instead. I have to switch Firefly with someone else, and honestly, I think Bongo Jr. would do just fine. Another clean switch from Bongo Jr. evades a lethal explosion from the warden. I slash him up and he goes into low HP and tries to bind Bongo with a flame column, but he misses! This dude really sucks at his job. He goes down and we send Fenrir to the Shadow Realm, but not before giving us the power to extinguish black flames. Nice! Next up is Nadine's Nightmare. Oh wow, it looks pretty roomy in here. Very fresh. Too bad the most unexpected obstacle for this one is hide and seek. Garlic Boy over here wants us to help him find his 4 friends. Doing this for 10 minutes, I realized that I completely suck at seeking. How was I supposed to know that the last one was indoors? Anyways, we get to the center and we see Nadine. What happened to you? Turns out the warden wanted to trap us here and use Nadine as bait. I'll kick his butt for you, Nadine, even if you tried to kill us multiple occasions. Firefly uses her amazing evasiveness to put debuffs on the enemy unscathed. Once her job was done, Ivy does the same and dodges the incoming attack to safely switch in and deal a bit of damage. Then it was Lolong's turn to freeze Master Mantis and combo with a freeze burn from Anka's fire claws until the warden finally went down. That's one more soul into the void. We hop into Zeta's nightmare and we find Spencer as his servant? Man, I wonder what goes on in Zeta's head. After we beat him up, we chase after the lightning champion and oh no, the bounty hunter is back. I'm sorry, man. I guess this is us having you fired for the 4th time. On the deepest part of the chamber, Zeta decides to give us a tough time by battling us instead. But we end this team really fast. Same old, same old. The warden shows his face so we can end him instead. Anka, who has fully recovered her confusion hacks, lowers the warden's attack and proceeds to spin him around, giving us a relatively simple battle after he switched to Jade and hurled meteors at him. With one last prisoner at the Shadow Realm, we go into Omnicron's jail cell and the cell is open. Someone got here before us. Ziegler. We sought out all of the prisoners, but the King of Monsters isn't here. This was when it all came back to me. The third wall breaks. Dina, Atlas, and the first Nexolord is here, proving my suspicions. I was Ziegler's prisoner, wasn't I? The familiarity and displacement of this place, the anomalies within it, but how was I imprisoned? My real friends tell me that I've been captured for a few weeks now because I tried to destroy the King of Monsters' soul alone. I have to make this right. We have to defeat Omnicron for good, and this time I have everyone else with me. Before I leave, Ziegler appears and takes over fake Dina's body and turns her against us. This is my first time fighting Dina. After a couple of confusions from Anka and frostbites from Lolong, I knew this wasn't going to be easy. Fortunately, Firefly is such a goat that she manages to confusion herself, but somehow Dina evades the attack while confused. Matters not because it's time to go on the offensive. So many tornadoes later, we're able to defeat Dina. But now, it was a battle against Ziegler myself. This isn't good. I'm 2 Nexomon down and he has 4200 health. I bid Firefly a good rest when Ziegler pelts rocks at her after weakening his magical power. With revenge on my mind, it was time to pull out all the stops. You think Anka, Lolong, and Firefly were the only ones with confusion? Think again. Bongo's turbulent toss takes Ziegler for a spin and gets confused as well. With this hidden trick up my sleeve, I did the second most diabolical thing I can do, to spam as many tornadoes I can, and it works. With Ziegler out of the picture, we break out of prison and into the real world. There, everything's a mess after the King of Monsters rampage. After gathering in town and assembling my final plan, it was time for the final battle. Here we go. 10,000 HP. I have the perfect plan to defeat you, once and for all. I'll be throwing every single status condition at my disposal to destroy you. Anka lowers his attack power above all else. Next, one spinning attack should do the trick. Yes! Quick swap into Firefly to drain your magic. Continue to unleash headbutts to ensure your confusion. Once Omnicron is now at 60%, I send out Ivy to poison him real quick, before going down to a meteor rain and a heavy monsoon. Jade to chip out even more damage with her own meteor rains. When Jade is knocked out, I have Lolong freeze him in his track to never move a muscle. If he ever thaws, it's back to the freezer for you. And now, saving the best for last, I send out Bongo Jr. to confuse him one last time and take him out with one final heavy monsoon. It's over. The King of Monsters' soul is no more. But before that happens, he tells us one last secret. With his soul gone, slowly, all Nexomon will cease to exist. Oh boy. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect this game to have that kind of story. At first, I was expecting what to happen half of the time, because, oh, we just have to defeat the Nexolord, and that's it. As short as this game was, I love the dialogue, banter, and interactions each character had with each other. It has a flair that made me chuckle and laugh while keeping me engaged with what was happening on screen, especially with an old mobile game like this. The writers did a great job. Now, for the Nexomon, they were also great to look at. You can tell that the people who did the art were also fans of the monster tame genre. Giving wacky designs plus the animation for the sprites themselves reminded me of Generation 5 Pokemon, where the pixelated sprites were also moving, gives me a blast of nostalgia. The puzzles were fairly simple enough. I like how easy it is to level up and go through the story for a much more relaxing and casual time. The music was also great. Have a listen for yourselves when you play the game. I recommend this both whether you're a PC, console, or an OG mobile player. It's a fairly short yet satisfying, charming experience once you do go play it. With so many Nexomon to choose from, there are lots of team combinations that you can make. Star conditions are pretty overpowered if you ask me. But with all said and done, thank you for watching. You know, Atlas is right. If the Nexomon are gonna be extinct, what's gonna happen to the sequel? The series? The franchise? Well, it's simple really. Let's just find out in the next game.